Jonnie from Bloodflower, and you're watching the VocalZone FAQ for iSing magazine. Well, it's a lot of fun to create, it's a lot of fun to play live. I guess Tom and I create minimalist electronica music. I work very hard at it, and if you do write songs or if you're a performer, you do need to work hard at it, because there's a lot of other performers out there who, if you don't fill the gap, they will. If you don't write your own songs, give it a whirl and see what happens, because it'll give you more independence as a writer, as a singer for sure, because you won't have to rely on other musicians, even though there's nothing wrong with relying on other musicians, because there's a lot of good musicians out there. Just buy a laptop or a computer and you'll find a program that'll just get a MIDI keyboard or a guitar or a bass or whatever takes your fancy, and give it a try. Places. Just comes with the job, I guess, because the more shows you do, or the more sessions you do, the more people you'll meet, and then these things will come hand in hand. Your performances become your social life, and it is a social life as long as there's people attending the shows. Yeah, it's just, it all starts turning the wheel for you. We've released everything ourselves thus far, and want to continue to do so until we find that we need a label, really. For us, it's not about how big the label is, it's about getting the right deal, if that makes any sense, I guess, which is far more important than who's behind the deal. I think both parties need to be equally happy. I mean, nowadays you don't really need to be signed, because we have this great thing, the internet, and it just allows so many great opportunities for young bands and even bands that have been around since before the internet was invented. They're taking complete advantage of the fact that you can upload music and reach millions of people from all over the world, which wasn't possible before by just a click of a button. So yes, definitely you can be successful as an independent artist. It's a lot of work, but totally worth it if you can make it happen. So I think there's lots of bands out there that have proven that it's more than possible. Places, people. Bands like Human League and New Order and Kraftwerk, yeah, I think they've just stuck with me, and there's just something I've always liked about those beats and those beautiful pop melodies, and even the image that came with it. I mean, I haven't necessarily followed the image side of it.
Well, what artist was it that you made you feel, yes, I want to do the same, I want to do the same type of music, or I want to be a musician?
Yeah, well, as I just meant, definitely New Order and Human League were bands that I still adore. Depeche Mode, Kraftwerk, who I saw at Latitude a couple of years ago, which I can't believe I got to see live, which were just incredible. And yeah, so pioneering bands, Gary Newman, Peter Gabriel, what a voice of Kate Bush, and more recently bands like Back for Lashes. I mean, Natasha Khan's voice is just delicious. It's just unbelievable. If I could do a duet with her or some sort of collaboration, I'd be quite happy. That would be a tick off the box. We have an absolute love for David Bowie, and what I love particularly about Bowie is that he's like, if you get his whole record collection or watch all his videos, it's just like one social history lesson of the 20th century in a bunch of videos, and it's the only lesson you should ever need to attend. No matter how much the music changes, his voice is just unmistakable, and it's just his ability to just recreate in his persona around this great voice, which has just become a tour de force, and has never lacked, even with the new material. You know, he's just such a high standard and a massive influence to both me and Tom. And then we've got Kate Bush, I guess, who's been really nice to have her back on the touring circuit recently, who has this amazing way with just dramatising every single lyric, these little stories, these little tales, and these little fantasies she has just come completely to life. And if there's a visual as well, it's just even more. It's the full 360 experience. I think I listened to cloud busting at least once a week. It was a big part of when we started Bloodflower off, that was one of the songs that there were certain things I couldn't explain vocally and rhythmically about some of the earlier songs that we did, in particular like Indigo and Run, and I would explain to Tom what I was trying to get across through that song, and without ripping her off, sorry kid. Yeah.
It's interesting, so you draw inspiration from Kate Bush, for example, and then you try to take it onto your own music but do something new with it.
Absolutely, yeah. Just a way of describing a feel. Of a song or a particular way a vocal has been sung. And you know, her voice, her range alone is just, for any vocalist to listen, you know, it's incredible.
Is this a common approach for you when you approach songwriting to look at what you like already and then try to build on that and create something new and fresh and give it extra vibe from your inner self, if you can put it that way?
Definitely. I'm not a complete music thief, but I'd be lying if I didn't.
I think
if I didn't.
Inspired.
Yeah, you've got to be. Yeah, you've got to be, and it just makes complete sense if somebody says it better than you can. Well, then just press play and then go. That's what I wanted to say. Yeah, there's something quite nice about watching somebody that's just really, really amazing at what they do and can just make these simple, almost like lullabies, just stick with you as well. You know, there'd be nothing without the people that actually sing on record. Tom and I kind of dress the same anyway, so that makes things easier for us. When we took the 3 extra guys on to help us out live, to play live with us, we did have a discussion about it, and it was very quick. It was quite detailed, but very quick, and we just thought that it would be kind of simple, slick, and something that would complement the music, which is something that we think we've achieved. It's not over the top, we haven't all got some sort of uniform or anything, that we just didn't want to go down that route, and people can have their own sort of individual identities within whatever we've decided on. I guess to go back to maybe some of my favourite singers, like for example David Bowie, I'm not sure if he could exist without his image, because he's a perfect example of marrying image and music and making that work together. Sort of contrast, but in a similar way to Bowie, is Robert Smith from The Cure, who, once again, you can't imagine without the lipstick, without the big hair and the baggy clothes and the big boots or whatever have you. But it just seems that Bowie's whole life has been spent on changing his identity with each new sound, whereas Robert Smith has kind of been honing that gothic sort of look. I think it's something that we maybe thought about at the beginning, but then I think we've just all kind of found our way, a place. Well, I would do maybe a 15 or 20 minute warm-up every day, which consists of about 4 different exercises, just to keep me in good shape in case something comes up. For rehearsals, I'll do the same. If the rehearsals say at 4 in the afternoon, I would start warming up, but maybe when I get up or just after breakfast, and then do another one just before singing. And the same with gigs, really. To keep it lubricated with water is very important, obviously, and yeah, just to go through your exercises daily, routinely, but rest is also very important. I think it's all about just getting the music right, getting out there, working hard, with every opportunity that you get, and if the music's good enough, you'll get noticed, and that's all I've really got to say for that, really. There's a lot of things these days that are available, like the internet, for example, and self-promotion is a good thing because you get close to your fans, and they will appreciate that. A lot like with every band, I mean, you've got to start your buzz where you live. It's quite important. Get your friends, get your family involved in what you do. To do gigs at your local clubs, make as many mistakes as you can before you can't make mistakes anymore, although that's not entirely true, because mistakes are a good thing, and it's about learning from your mistakes is probably the best advice to give anyone, really. It's if you keep making the same mistakes, then you're not going to get anywhere, but ask your friends for help, ask them for guidance, and get it right in an area where there's no pressure. Don't come to London, don't bother going to London until you're ready. If that's the sort of thing you want to do, if you want to get a record deal or invite people down, there's no need to just get the music right. It's all about the music. Don't even, don't waste any time on other things. Just get the music right and feel 100% with it, and then get out there and work hard. And don't forget, of course, to have a lot of fun, because that's what it's all about at the end of the day. It's a great job. Yeah, give it a try. I mean, if you've got a passion for music, then ride it and see where it takes you. I mean, it could be a great thing. You've got to work hard. There's lots of ups and downs. I've found it's a tough industry. It's a tough place to financially secure yourself, I guess, nowadays with piracy. But then there's an opposite, polar opposite to that as well, where we have access to an endless amount of resources and people with the internet and with digital promotion. So just take advantage of it, get involved, and if you've got a passion for it, follow it through. You might get to see the world through your music, and that's a really good thing. It's got to be a good bonus rather than sitting in an office all day, I guess. That's what I'd rather do. I'm completely guilty of it, and I always have been, unfortunately. It's something I've not really been able to overcome. Although I've stopped going sick before gigs, which is a good thing, I think. It used to happen a lot when I was younger. But yeah, I still get nervous, and I think it's just part of the day for me now. It's just something I've become accustomed to. It's knowing that I'm going on stage and there's a lot of things go through my mind that I want to get right, because I want every show to be as good as it can be. What helps me a lot is coming back to the vocal warm-up routines, is that I find them quite relaxing, because there's a lot of breathing and things, and they can be quite useful to calm me down a bit. And maybe a pint of lager in the afternoon. If we're in an interesting city, I'll go and sightsee, take my mind off for a little bit. But then sound check, I'll be back focusing, then warm-ups, focusing again, and then get on stage. I just can't wait to get on stage. I think that's probably my problems. I've loved every minute of it. It's just been an amazing learning curve, and I hope people take pleasure in what I've done over the years and what Tom and me are trying to achieve at the moment. It's good fun. No, I wouldn't change it. I love it. It's great. I wouldn't change it for the world. I've been Jonnie from Bloodflower. Thank you very much for watching. You've been watching iSing magazine. Thank you very much. Cheers.